Hello, Namaskar. Welcome you to the SAAR Analysis. I am Chamanak and here's my take. Well, most people believe that a bigger government deficit is a sign of economic weakness. But what if I tell you in just 60 days, India spent nearly one-fifth of entire annual budget while its physical deficit surged over 111% year on year, even after receiving the largest ever dividend from the Reserve Bank of India. Well, this isn't just another economic statistic, it is a signal that global investor, central bank, and the sovereign wealth are already watching us closely. So the question arises, is India taking calculated economic gamble or making a strategic investment in its future? Let's dig it out. Now here's what evidence speaks about. The latest government data paints this fascinating picture. Between April and May, India's fiscal deficit widened sharply to 1.62 trillion compared to just 130 billion during the same period last year. Well, the revenue received declined over 1% while the government expenditure jumped over 18%. Now, more importantly, the capital expenditure means money spent on highways, railways, defense, infrastructure, logistics, and most importantly, long-term asset increased by over 13%. Now, this happened despite the RBI transferring its record surplus to the government, and the message is quite clear. Well, India isn't reducing the spending, it is accelerating it. Now the question arises, why is this important? This is important because this is no longer just India's budget story, it is becoming a global economic story. Well, India is expected to remain the world's largest contributor to the economic growth over coming decade. Every fiscal decision taken in New Delhi influences the global investors, allocating billions of dollars into emerging market. Well, higher fiscal deficit creates two competing realities. Now, first, if the government borrowing finances productive infrastructure, that means it strengthens our manufacturing, it attracts investment, it improves the export, and most importantly, it raises the long-term growth. But if revenue continues to slow down while expenditure keep rising, the borrowing cost may increase, bond yields may climb, inflation expenditure could rise, and most importantly, the financial market starts beginning to question about fiscal sustainability. That's why credit rating agency, this foreign investors and central bank are watching these numbers far more closely than the headlines suggest. Because this fiscal policy today is increasingly becoming a geopolitical strategy, and economic credibility determines the investment, and investment determines the influence, and most importantly, this influence increasingly determines the geopolitical power. Now, here's my take. This deficit isn't the story about India, it is the story about this fiscal report. It is the story about the quality of the deficit it is. If today's borrowing is creating tomorrow's infrastructure, manufacturing capacity, and productivity, India could emerge stronger despite a wider deficit. But if this revenue growth does not catch up tomorrow quarters, maintain its fiscal credibility, then India will become significantly more challenging. Well, the world isn't asking whether India is spending more or not. The world is asking whether India is investing it wisely or not. And that brings us to the next question. Could India's rising fiscal deficit becoming the foundation of the next upcoming economic supercycle, or the first warning sign that global markets cannot afford to ignore? Let me know in the comment section, and that's all from today's analysis. I will be back with another episode. Till then, thank you for watching this.